Hi, I'm Pastor John Mocko, Program Director for the North Carolina Synod's LIFELINE Fund. A lifeline, that's what we throw to someone in danger of drowning. The LIFELINE Fund, that's what we call the grants given to rostered ministers who are in danger of drowning in education debt. The North Carolina Synod is stewarding a generous grant from Lilly Endowment to address the economic challenges that education debt brings to our rostered ministers. Rostered ministers in the following synods are eligible to apply for a LIFELINE Fund grant: North Carolina Synod, South Carolina Synod, Virginia Synod, the Southeast Synod, and the Caribbean Synod. Listen to the challenges our rostered leaders face, then listen for the differences the LIFELINE Fund is making in their lives.
My husband and I face a mountain of debt that has felt insurmountable. At one time, we carried over $120,000 in student debt between the two of us, and that became even more difficult as we welcomed 3 children into our family.
Our level of student debt was overwhelming, and we were slowly giving up on the idea of ever finding financial freedom.
As a second career person, the idea of going back to school is daunting, especially when you consider the expense and time involved, and the fact that you have to give up another job, at least part-time, to fulfill God's call in your life.
Hello everyone, my name is Reverend Jennifer Tillman, and I am the pastor of Apostles Lutheran Church in Gloucester, Virginia. Like many of you, I'm a hard-working, tax-paying citizen of the United States of America. I pursued a higher education in order to broaden my horizons and embrace a calling that rewarded me with a living wage. However, like most millennials, I was saddled with crippling debt due in large part to taking out student loans in order to finance my education. I don't regret my college, university, and seminary years, but the educational debt that I have inherited has stifled my ability to give as generously back to my church as I am obligated to give back to Uncle Sam. I struggle to ask my congregation to give generously to God when the Caesar of my student loans has become the master of my financial commitments.
Money has been a constant stressor in my life and my journey as a first call pastor. My level of student debt is a burden, and because I'm in a first call congregation like so many that can't afford to pay Synod guidelines, I've been further and further behind financially in savings and meeting day-to-day financial needs.
As a first call pastor beginning a new call, it was hard for me to focus on my own budgeting, finances, and really anything related to money because I was completely tapped into the life of my new congregation.
And now, hear how the LIFELINE Fund makes a difference in the lives of our rostered leaders.
The LIFELINE Fund has made a lasting impact in these first years of my ministry. The challenge of student loan debt and how to make it by financially is always a distraction from my call and my ministry. Especially makes a difference in my stress level at certain times. The generosity of the LIFELINE Fund allowed me to breathe and gave me relief from the burden of student debt and allowed me to get ahead. The LIFELINE Fund has also been liberating because those suffering from student debt often feel ashamed and unable to talk about their level of debt and how it affects them. The LIFELINE Fund has more openly enabled me to talk about my student debt and how it affects my ministry and my life.
Since working with the LIFELINE Fund, we now have a working budget for each month, and we're able to plan ahead and look to the future. We are also able to be more increasingly generous, as well as save enough so that emergencies will hopefully be less debilitating financially.
This grant from the LIFELINE Fund has given us peace of mind to be able to focus on our ministry, and our lowered stress is also apparent to our young children. We are able to talk to them in a healthy way about how we spend our money and why, so that we can raise them to be good stewards of their finances as well.
The grants from the LIFELINE Fund helped free up my mind to be able to focus more on ministry. During my first call here, I'm going through a lot of first. I've had some really big learning curves that have required a lot of my attention. These grants helped take some stress off of my own finances, so I'm better able to focus on my calling to serve and build relationships within my congregation.
But with help from the Lifeline Fund, we were able to pay off one of the loans, freeing up $100 in our monthly budget, which makes a huge difference. The Lifeline Fund has cut off 10 years of education debt payments for us.
Lifeline Fund has been a blessing, and Financial Peace University has helped me to budget my life, reduce debt, and prepare for retirement when that day finally arrives.
Although I have not yet received a grant, my congregation welcomed conversations with the Lifeline Fund staff concerning the challenges of educational debt and how they may offer relief. Thankfully, Apostles Lutheran Church has set up a fund to help alleviate my student loan debt. Their generosity, coupled with the Lifeline Fund grant, will offer the financial freedom I need to give back fully to my call as a pastor in Christ's church. God's church has a mission, and God's mission has a church. The partnership between congregations such as Apostles Lutheran and the Lifeline Fund helps pastors such as myself to better serve God's church and therefore God's mission.
Hi, I'm Bishop Tim Smith of the North Carolina Synod. Thanks for this opportunity to share. You've seen so many wonderful testimonials that mean more than I could tell you, but I simply want to thank you for your support of the Lifeline Fund. It really and truly is life-changing for our pastors and deacons. I also wanted to encourage rostered ministers in this synod to apply, and perhaps in other synods as well, where they have this program now. We want to thank you for and encourage donations to this fund so that we can continue to support our rostered ministers into the future. We want to invite conversation between congregation councils about pastors and deacons' educational debt and find out ways that they might help alleviate that. And once again, thank you so very much. God's peace.
Thanks, Bishop Tim, and thank you for watching and listening. There are a couple of ways that you can be part of the Lifeline Fund. As a donor, you will make a significant difference in the lives of rostered leaders. To make a donation, please contact Pastor David Sloop at 919-801-8256. David will review all the information about the Lifeline Fund. As a rostered leader seeking relief from education debt, all you have to do is go to the North Carolina Synod's website, nclutheran.org, and fill out the application. This can be a financial lifeline for you. Thanks, and God bless you.